Hello there, leadership students, and welcome to Chapter 1. I invite you to review this PowerPoint as a companion to Chapter 1. I've also included an interesting video that I found that includes a short guided meditation. The video does ask some important questions that I thought went along nicely with self-leadership, which Chapter 1 discusses. Questions like, who am I? What do I want? Where am I going? Imagine if somebody asked you that every morning. It would really give you some focus. So let's get started with Chapter 1. Chapter 1 covers the foundational principles of leadership, and I think they pretty much have us looking at why should we focus on leadership. And we really need to do that because leadership is a concern for all of us. We're all affected by leadership. This is also, leadership is viewed and valued differently by various disciplines and cultures, and we need to be mindful of that principle. Conventional views of leadership are changing, and the chapter talks about that. Qualities and skills can be learned and developed. This is good news for all of us, right? Leaders are not just born, they can be developed. And the foundation of excellent leadership is ethical action. And the connection to social responsibility. Our chapter talks about paradigms. What is a paradigm? If I asked you on a test, explain what a paradigm is, what would you say? Somebody asked me, I'd say that a paradigm is a standard way that we look at things or that we do things. And as you have probably seen in your own life, there are important times to shift the paradigm. Things quit working. People are not happy. Productivity is down. And as a result, we may need to shift. Just like the little chicken, his first paradigm was the egg. He has to be born, shift, and then go on about his new life as a little chick. Take a look at this image. What do you see? Just pause a little bit. Maybe you see one person, maybe you see two people. But shifting your perspective, you might see an old woman or a young woman. This idea of perception and the fact that we come to every experience through our own experiences and our own bias and our own set of values, and as a result, those can affect the way we see things. Do you see a young woman? Do you see an old woman? Again, just emphasizing the importance of changing your perspective. If you don't see both yet, pause and really study the image until one or the other or both come into focus for you. Paradigm shifting is very necessary, especially when times are fast changing and unpredictable. Maybe conventional ways of approaching something no longer works, so we need to find a new way to deal with things. We definitely need to collaborate and work together instead of individual determinism and top-down management. We might need to see organizations that really share and honor diversity and collaborate together in order to adjust to what's needed. Some examples of old paradigm leadership models assume that the manager was also the leader. I don't know about you, but sometimes I've had managers that are not leaders. And a lot of times you can think of management and leadership as being two very different qualities. You might need different things in a person to do both of those things. An organization can have a manager, but they also have leaders. And again, they don't always have to be the same person. Old paradigms depend on authority and fear-based management, where followers are passive and just do what they're told, and the goals are set by leaders. And you may even feel a sense of being in a survival mode. Oftentimes these are very frustrating places to work. New paradigm shift, relationship building, focusing on collaboration between leaders and followers, we're in this together. We honor our strengths that we bring to the table, and we maximize those strengths no matter what position we might be in. Goals are set together, and people feel empowered and creative in this new paradigm of leadership. I found this little video that talks about paradigm shifting and includes a guided meditation. Again, thinking about self-leadership. Who are you, and who are you as a leader? What kinds of things do you want out of your education and your career life and your family life? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? And where are you going? What are your goals? What are you looking for in the future? So pause my video and go take a look at this particular video and see what you think. As you have watched the video, you remember this diagram about survival mode. I don't know about you, but I have worked in places that very much feel like this, like you're in survival mode. It is not a pleasant environment to work in. Leaders are definitely fear-based management style, and they use that to sort of intimidate people. Very unpleasant and a difficult place to work, but you may learn that it's worth investing in your education and trying to find an environment where there's more of a creative emphasis, and that leadership is collaborative and respectful and has a vision, including a sense of service, where it's okay to make mistakes. You know, things happen, and it's definitely more purposeful. Our chapter talks about followers, which I thought was really interesting because we talk a lot about leadership, but being good followers and active followers and maybe leading from behind is definitely a current conversation in leadership theory. You know, followers are not just people doing what they're told. They are actually creating and shaping the context of what is going on. I have worked in places, and it seems like management makes decisions without actually looking at the people who are actually doing the job. That disconnect can really cause a lot of trouble. The more connected leaders are to the people who are actually doing the work, the faster changes can be made in order to adapt to the needs of customers and constituents. Maybe we want to think of followers as constituents or co-creators, collaborators, or maybe even participants. And when our text talks about the term leader, we're not just talking about the positional leader. The positional leader is the person who has the position in the organization. They've been hired and selected to lead. They might even have a title, a corner office, and all those things that go with being the leader. Nowadays, you might see and be acknowledged for leading and not necessarily have the title to do so. A lot of times someone who is a true leader will solve problems even though it's maybe not their title to do so, and that's what our text is talking about when it comes to leadership. Now, our purpose for leading is not to be power-grubbing and just to have authority over other people. Our intention in talking about leadership means that we're talking about being purposeful, making a positive change in our community, as well as being civically engaged. Of course, you all spent last week talking about service learning, and you're connecting with your communities, and you're bringing this class into your community, and you're actually going to be practicing leadership as a way of serving your community. So great projects, and I look forward to reading everybody's declaration regarding their project. Leadership is a social construct, meaning there is always a process that is trying to get performed. Things are needing to be produced or created, and that is done by the social group that is there employed to carry out those tasks. A great leader is someone who is definitely focused on the production of whatever is being done, as well as taking care of and managing and collaborating with the folks that are actually doing the job. So that is a really important piece of leadership. Great leaders are open to learning. Leadership is definitely about learning about oneself. It's about self-development. Some of the activities you'll be doing this week are going to be asking you to think about yourself and your self-development. And we're also asking you to take on new roles in your service learning. Maybe we're asking you to reflect on those experiences and maybe form new ideas about your own skill level and things you need to work on. Our book is very much invested in the relational leadership model, and that is defined as an ethical process of people coming together attempting to accomplish a positive change in the world. Being open to learning is an important trait of these leaders. So you have a purpose, you're empowering others, you're being inclusive and respectful of diversity, and you're being ethical in your decision making, and that's all of those are pieces of the relationship model. Leadership paradigms, just to kind of give you a little bit of an activity here. Where do you stand? Do you think leaders are born and not made? Can you be a leader without a formal title within an organization? Leaders always work for good. Leadership is a process of creating change. Not everybody can be a leader. Who I am determines how I lead. If I can do it by myself, it's not leadership. A central component of leadership is ethics. Do you consider yourself a leader? A leader needs to be a good listener. A leader needs to have authority. A leader needs to have a degree. So where do you stand on these issues? Do you agree, disagree? Are you somewhere in the middle? You can just kind of make notes of that for yourself. So tying this all up, self-leadership is a combination of knowing yourself. We're going to work on that in this class. We're also going to think about the being piece. Are you ethical, authentic, open, caring, and inclusive? And then finally the doing. You're making decisions, taking actions that brings about your vision. All right, so you have now read Chapter 1. You've sort of reviewed our PowerPoint here for Chapter 1. You'll complete an activity packet this week, which includes watching this video and then doing the activity that goes along with it. So hope you enjoy your activities, and of course, if you have any questions, please let me know. All righty, thank you.